Good evening. I'd like to call the City Council meeting to order for August 9, 2023. The time is 7 p.m. Would you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, item C is our roll call of council members. I'll ask our clerk to please call the roll.
Councilmember Beaton?
Here.
Councilmember Brocksmith?
Here.
Councilmember Frias?
Here.
Councilmember Hudson?
Here.
Councilmember Hulse?
Here.
Councilmember Wallner?
Here.
Councilmember Morales is excused this evening. Thank you. Item 1 under community comments is a review of emails from the public. Peter Donovan is not here tonight, so our Public Works Director, Chris Phillips, is pinch hitting for Peter, so I believe there is one email to read.
Thank you so much, Mayor. Good evening, Council. This email is from Mr. Paul DePiro, and he writes on the August 2nd, 2023. Good evening. I spoke last weekend, July 26th, about having the option to going back to our smaller garbage can on going to bi-weekly pickup. I wrote my name and address on the clipboard outside the door, but have not heard back from anyone. We had the shallow garbage can for years with no problem. I would like the option to go back to it or go bi-weekly or pay less per month. 3/31/2022 bill was $66.15. 6/30/2023 bill was $84.44. I work for a large beverage company and a lot of my accounts get delivered bi-weekly, which saves money all around in labor and fuel. Thank you for your time. Paul DePiro, 1114 South 19th Street, Mount Vernon, Washington.
All right, thank you, Chris. And just for council to know, Mr. DePiro put his address but not his phone or email, but we did get a hold of him. And so Peter from my office has talked with him about his concerns. All right, item 2 is any public comment. Any public comment, you're welcome to step forward. If you want to please state your name, city of residence, comments around 3 minutes. We'll get going.
Hello, everyone. Ed Johnson. I now live downtown, Myrtle and First Street. Wow, interesting. Speaking of garbage, well, let's go back. The flood wall, awesome. Finally got it in place. How many different mayors did it go through? How many different, what was it, the civil engineers, I forget the name. They had to do 8 different studies, $200,000 each, and finally figured out, yep, the river gets over this, whatever. Got it done 50 years later in that place. Because I remember Sky Riffendiker talking about that back in the day. So I'd like to, at least throw it out there, a commemorative plaque or some sort saying, this is what it took to get this flood wall here. And it was great that it finally got there. But anyways, back to the garbage. I don't understand the civilian life. I don't get it. I work primarily in aerospace as a quality engineer, quality specialist, worked in 7 states, 3 different countries, and I get retired unexpectedly, disability, and then I find all these goofinesses going on, like dumpster diving, garbage everywhere. And what's it gonna take to fix that? Another 50 years? I figure there's bear traps and bear type dumpsters or whatever it takes, or even I've suggested a couple of things like, having the voting, the ballot drop box type, but blown up, so it takes 13 to 30 gallon, and then people can't get into it, except for those that are supposed to. But it's just an ongoing thing, and I didn't know it until I moved there this year. I'm like, wow. Really? What else? Oh, the graffiti. Oh my God. Now I've talked to, I've attempted to talk to my Ward 1 people, and I've got nothing but one person to reply. The other person hasn't, and I've never seen either one of them down there. I am down there quite a bit. But anyways, I found a whole bunch of graffiti. I cannot believe it. So, having lived in a third world country, coming back, I still feel like I'm there. And I don't like it. I want it to go back to the way it was. People didn't have to lock their doors. Everybody's locked their doors. Oh, and then I got attacked the other night. 2 gals, drunked up. They were, playing striptease on a sign pole out front of Draft Picks. And I happened to live right across the street. And when I came out, they're laughing, giggling. And I took a couple of pictures with my flip phone. And I was going to help them up. And the one girl says, hey, did you take video? And I said, no. Did you take photos? And I didn't want to answer her. She was angry. She demanded my phone. I thought, well, I'm out of here. So I started across the street, got to the other side. She's saying something to the effect of, well, don't think I won't hit you in the back. So I turned around. I was surprised to hear that. All this, what is this? And so she comes running over, pushes me in the chest. I pull out my phone because I said, now you've touched me. And then she hit me in the face, grabbed my phone, flip phone, twisted it, stomped on it, and then I didn't know what to do. I've never hit a girl in 62 years. I was tempted that night, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to make of it. But no arrests of it, and yet I've not had anything. So now I'm wondering, what could I have done differently? Perhaps that was the best choice at the time to leave, run away. But what about the fight and flight? What about the stand your ground? So I'm talking to a bunch of people, and one of my buddies just took tactical training. And he says, well, get your concealed, and you yell out as loud as possible, I am armed, and I will use deadly force. Who wants to say that? I don't. But I guess that's where we're headed. It could have been a whole lot worse than what it was, but the fact of the matter, I'm a senior. This person's in their mid-30s or so. They thought it was just fine to do whatever they're doing. Some people explained it off as being alcohol-related. Maybe. Still don't make it okay. And yet nothing else has transpired. So I'm kind of concerned about where we're headed. Garbage, flood walls there, yay, and then so on. So that's the gist of what I'm talking about tonight. And I've got 103 other things to talk about someday.
Thanks, Ed.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm Lynette Brower. I'm the director of the Northwest Career and Technical Academy at 2205 West Campus Place. And I'm just here with a heart of gratitude for the work that the city is doing in two departments in particular. I work with juniors and seniors in high school, and my goal is to have a bunch of adults who light kids on fire. And your fire department, not literally on fire though, your fire department and your police department have really done amazing work to inspire our young people. I think about the work that they do, and they're here and in force tonight, but just the work that they do without those notes of gratitude and the workforce that we're dying to have of noble, honorable people. And to have my young people say, this is what I want to do, and I want to do it in my community, that is so impactful. And it's not because I'm doing a good job or Mr. Green or Mr. Greaves is doing a good job. It's because of the people that you have under your employee who are lighting our people on fire. And it is just, I wanted to say thank you. I apologize for waiting until August to be able to get here. But amazing work from your fine folks. And I just want to say thank you publicly.
Thank you. Thank you. Lynette, thank you for your work, and I hope you get that expansion in Whatcom County that you're working on, just so you know. Yeah, all right. All right, any other public comment tonight? All right, seeing none, we'll move on then. Under our consent agenda tonight, we have items, let me see, A, B, A and B. That's it. It is checks, wire transfers, direct deposits, and AP claims.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion by Melissa, second by Mary. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries, thank you. Under reports tonight, there is a Public Works and Library Committee report. Councilmember Gary Molnar. Gary.
Okay, we opened up the Public Works and Library tonight at 6 o'clock. First up, Blaine Chesterfield gave us an update on the Stokely Tower foundation caps. A lot of those were getting very rusted, so now the work is substantially complete on August 1st, and we are going to continue to keep working on that as far as our budget allows coming forward. On August 7th, the Army Corps of Engineers in Dike District 3 started repairs on the levee, and that's right there south of Lions Park. Work is expected to last for probably about 2 to 3 weeks, and during the project, the Riverwalk will be closed, and Freeway Drive will have some traffic control in place as needed. On August 25th, the city has had an inclinometer and water monitoring well installed on the slope of the Skagit Highlands Pond. We're doing some sampling of soils there. This will be used to also monitor groundwater and the movement that has been taking effect over the last couple of years. So updates will be provided as needed going forward. A professional service agreement with Brown and Caldwell will be on tonight's council agenda. The agreement is also to support the city of the National Pollution Discharge Elimination System and Stormwater Permit Program implementation and development activities. Next, Bill Bullock gave us some project updates. The 2023 curb ramp projects are pretty much completed, along with our paving. Probably seen some new paving on throughout the city. We had great weather for that. Also, the Hogue LaVenture signal will probably be finished up on August 28th, between that and September 8th. There are two upcoming contract awards expected to come to council on the 23rd. A bid award for the wastewater treatment plant project, and a professional service contract with the ADA transition plan development. Next, Isaac Huffman gave us a library update. The third floor is currently being added to the new library. Also, new data indicates why EV adoption is a lot quicker in Washington than any other state. The library also shared update totals for the foundation effort that's been going on through this past year. They also discussed a way to multi-year pledges, how those will work going forward. Isaac also talked about the successes of the summer reading that's been going, ice cream story time, parks, pop-ups, and outreach efforts, and the first public 3D printer, and also with some great teen program updates and adult programming highlights. And we close the meeting at 6:43.
All right, thank you, Gary. We're gonna postpone our Public Safety Committee report for our next council meeting. If the clerk makes a note, that would be great, thank you. Item B under reports is our council member comments. Any council member comments this evening? Mark, please go ahead.
So I've heard about garbage downtown 3 times today. This gentleman was the third time I've heard it. It tends to be a problem down there. I have been contacted by certain business owners down there regarding other businesses that have had not so nice garbage areas. We've worked with code enforcement. Code enforcement has gone down and made those corrections, and businesses are pretty quickly to respond to those. But if you anybody in the public happens to see something that's not pleasant to the eye or is a public safety hazard, snap a couple pictures, contact your council member. We can get a hold of code enforcement, and we can get somebody out there right away. So it was just funny that this is the 3rd time today that I've heard about some garbage issues downtown. The way to rectify that is just contact your council member. We can talk to code enforcement. Contact any council member.
Mr. Johnson.
Yeah, contact any council member, or all the council members, and somebody will respond.
Thank you, Mark. Any other council member comments tonight? All right, thank you. Under Mayor's report, there's just a construction update on our Mount Vernon Library Commons. The picture on the left is actually where some of the shoring has been removed because everything's cured. And so you can actually see part of where parking would be. If you happen to walk by and look up, you'll see a 20-foot ceiling where the library and the community center will be, and it looks very grand and wonderful. The parking levels are a different elevation, about 8 feet. So progress continues. They're pouring level 3, and they'll soon be on their way to pouring the very top deck, which is level 4, toward the end of this month. Work is just continuing on that pour. So that's really what's gonna happen through the month of August and into September, and pretty soon they'll start closing it up and doing things on the interior, which will be exciting to see. So any construction questions that you have, you can go online on our Mount Vernon Library Commons page. You can subscribe to our monthly construction update reports. You can give a call, you can subscribe to the mayor's e-newsletter. All that information is there, and we're excited to see the project progress. All right, Item D tonight is committee agenda requests. I think Councilmember Molnar had one. I knew-
Well, yeah, I was wondering if we could have a discussion with Catholic Services and just an update on how things are going at Martha's Place.
Absolutely. We'll invite them to do an update for council.
Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Great, any other committee agenda requests? All right. Moving on, there is no unfinished business tonight. Item A under new business is the approval of a street closure date change. This is for the Colston Street Fair. Jennifer Berner, our Parks and Enrichment Services Director, is here to present. Jennifer.
Good evening, council. So you have previously approved a street closure for the Colston Street neighborhood street fair that they do. However, it's in conflict with the same date of the fair, and many of the folks there that live in that neighborhood asked for it to be changed so they could attend the fair. So the new date that they are looking to hold their program is August 26th. So everything stays the same, all the other details remain the same. Officer Edgar Serrano will be there the whole time. The only change is the date. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer those for you.
All right, questions for Jennifer on this?
Okay, I'd like to move that we change the street closure date to the 26th.
Second. All right, motion by Mary and a second by Iris. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Thanks, Jennifer. Item B tonight is approval of an agreement with Trico Companies LLC. Our Fire Chief Brian Bryce is here for this particular item.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight I'm before you to ask for the approval for the mayor to execute an agreement with Trico for the renovation project at Fire Station 2. The short background version of this is if we go back to 2018, we did a needs assessment of all three of our fire stations, looking at their current condition, what's needed. With that, we found several needs. One, we have an aging station downtown that's exceeded its life expectancy, can't fit apparatus in there properly. With our other stations, we found some other issues related to some seismic issues, some right sizing of spacing for our personnel. Back to our CIP back in 2002, I believe it was, we first introduced an item to put in an expansion to Station 3, which was another apparatus bay for that station. We also had Station 2 in there to make sure that we have everything right sized. As we processed through that, we went out to a voter bond back in late 2018, and that did not pass to do all three of those at once. With the introduction of our ambulance transport services and use of those fundings from that, we were able to craft a budget and a mechanism to pay for the renovations of Fire Stations 2 and 3, utilizing a bond ahead of time, and then utilizing GEMT, which stands for Ground Emergency Transport Fund revenue that we receive to fund that at no expense to the taxpayers. So we moved forward with that project. We worked on Station 3 over the last year. It's coming to its completion. And recently we went out to bid for Station 2. We had 9 bidders for that project. The range of those bids were 5.8 to 8.5, which was a good turnout to have 9 bids for that. So we're very happy with that. With that, what we're here to do tonight is ask for your approval for an agreement with Trico to begin that work. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions? Go ahead, Mark.
So we have, I've got a couple thoughts on this. One, being, well, I guess the first question I have is we have some housing issues for our staff. Have those been resolved as of yet?
Yeah, we're in current impact bargaining with that labor group to resolve those. We do have an option to meet those needs for the housing of the personnel. With that, that's about all I'm going to comment on here, so I don't violate any labor management practices that are within the negotiation process.
And then I guess the second question is there any way to phase that construction so that we don't displace people as much?
No.
Well,
It's just a question.
yeah, no, and
There's no right or wrong answer, it's just a question.
the reason behind the hesitation is just trying to think through that, and it would be answer, sure, we could, anything is always possible with enough time, energy, and money, and I think that would be, we'd need to go back and look at that, find out what that phasing is. But from looking at the work that was done at Station 3, the clearing out of everything of that station, being able to focus and get the crews on there is the paramount. And so I think with the solution we have in mind for the relocation of crews and to mitigate the impacts. I think the best option would be remove the crews from the station completely, let the crew from Trico get in there, do their work uninhabited. That way it does not cause any further delays to the project, which equals money in the long run, and that would get them back in the station that much quicker.
So without violating anything, we don't currently have an agreement. We're working on an agreement.
That's correct.
So I would move that council would approve or authorize the mayor to approve this contract with Trico for Station 2 once the labor issue has been resolved.
There's a motion. Is there a second? All right. Lack of a second, the motion dies. All right. Any other,
Motion to, I'm sorry,
oh, go, any other questions for Chief Price? Right, go ahead.
make a motion to authorize the mayor to enter into the agreement with Trico for reconstruction of Fire Station 2 as recommended by staff.
Second.
All right, motion by Richard and a second by Melissa. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign.
I'm going to oppose it just because I think we need to make sure that our employees are taken care of first.
All right. Is that noted by the clerk? All right, motion carries. Thank you. All right.
Mayor, may
Oh.
I ask on a related note, if it's okay, just Station 3, we're getting very close, I think end of September. So will there be an opportunity for the community to come out and see that when it's done?
Yes, actually, it's the end of August, and the open house is September 30th is what we're planning. We have a gap in there so we can move crews back in, get it set up, and ready to have for the community to view that. So more will come out to the community very shortly. We want to get a save the date out to several folks already. So thank you for the question.
Yeah, stay tuned on the date and the details, but we really do want people to come and see what their tax dollars are paying as far as making the community safer. I think we all know Station 2 will do the same thing, of course. Appreciate Mark's concern. We'll address that too.
All right, thank you. All right, next up, oh, that's why you're still there, because there's the next one for you. All right, item C is the approval of agreement with Public Consulting Group, or PCG, again, our Fire Chief, Brian Bryce.
So again, as I mentioned earlier in the previous report, one of the things we receive is GEMT, the Ground Emergency Medical Transport Revenue. That's a program that's funded through the Centers for Medicaid and Medicare on the federal side of that. The focus of that program is to help offset the cost imbalance between the cost of the service and what we get reimbursed for Medicaid transport patients. So while we have a billing structure that sets that we can bill approximately $700 for a patient for the ambulance transport, because of our agreement through Medicaid and what they pay, we only get $137 for every transport that we do. The GEMT program was set up many years ago in another state. The state of Washington followed that up in 2016 and implemented that through some legislation so that the Washington public service agencies could receive that funding as well. We go through a process of cost reporting, filling out budget information, depreciation on vehicles, depreciation on stations, compile that information and submit that back to the state of Washington. PCG has been providing a service for us to do that accounting and help make sure we get the right information in there so we maximize the amount of GEMT revenue we would receive back from the state. So I'm here this evening to seek that we renew that contract with PCG to do that work. The cost of that contract is $30,000 annually. That is a large amount. We've had that dialogue internally with staff. We just don't have the capacity from our finance staff nor the expertise to really do that, to make sure we have that. And PCG is well versed in not only the Washington state process and the healthcare agency who administers that, but on the federal side with what goes on through the Centers of Medicare and Medicare. And I think that really leverages our value in making sure we don't miss something in there so that we have to return monies later. As just a short piece of that, while it's a $30,000 contract, we still will receive approximately $977,000 per year in the GEMT. So it's kind of offsetting itself, making sure we get that $977,000.
Right.
Any questions?
Questions for Chief on this? All right.
I would move the approval of agreement with PCG.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion by Mark, a second by Gary. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries, thank you. Thank you, Chief. Item D tonight is the approval of an agreement with Brown and Caldwell Incorporated. This Blaine Chesterfield, our engineering manager, will present. Blaine.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. Yes, the Brown and Caldwell agreement, this is something that we've gone through before because they've helped us quite a bit in the past. So staff recommends that the City Council authorize the mayor to enter into a professional services agreement with Brown and Caldwell to support the city in the National Pollution Discharge Elimination System Phase 2 Municipal Stormwater Permit Program Implementation and Development. I need a breath after that. The cost of these services for the 2-year agreement is in the amount not to exceed $146,285. As the council knows, the state and federal regulations require us to implement a stormwater permit in order to improve water quality. The professional services agreement provides for the ongoing work needed to develop, assist the city in implementation of this permit. Some of the key elements are the stormwater management program, the annual reporting, stormwater management action plan. As you know, we developed a stormwater management action plan, and now there has to be some implementation involved with this. There could additionally be some requirements. The current permit cycle ends in the middle of 2024, so about a year from now. Ecology, of course, will have new requirements for us in the next permit. So any of those that fit within the categories we have in this contract would fall under those. Brown and Caldwell staff will be providing the proposed services, and they're extensively experienced and qualified to do this work and have a solid understanding of the city's needs, having worked with us in the past. Approval of the proposed professional service agreement is an essential step for the city's continuing efforts to improve water quality and comply with the Ecology MPDS Phase 2 Municipal Stormwater Permit.
Questions for Blaine on this item?
I move to approve the agreement with Brown and Caldwell.
Thank you. Motion by Mary and a second by Iris. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Blaine.
Thank you, Mayor, Council.
All right. The absence of our city attorney can only mean one thing. We do not have an executive session tonight. With that, we've completed our agenda items. We'll now be adjourned at 7:28.